Okay, so we're live. Welcome back to the Magic Minds podcast. I'm Matt Burke. We're back in our usual location, myself and Doyle. Last week we done our intro from the National Rehab. My job was on my lunch break, but we're back today. I got some great feedback about Daniel Kelly's interview. I'm delighted that lads got in touch with me. I'm really passionate about optimising our health and taking control of your own health. So if you're interested in optimising your health, check out Daniel's book. That's Optimize Under 35. He's a really good guy, really knowledgeable, and he's surrounded by knowledgeable people in that field. I just think it's powerful, But again, as I said in the last podcast, optimization and testosterone, it's not done in isolation. Nothing is in isolation, Testosterone is not synonymous with health, just like meditation is not synonymous with mental health cures, or like exercise for diet, and everything works in symmetry, so you need to get all your ducks. I know I'm fucking forever talking about ducks, so you need to get your ducks in a row. It's not the one fixed answer. You need to get all your life, mental, physical, spiritual, the whole lot together, and then you can start fine-tuning your health. So yeah, look, check out that book, check out that interview. If you have family or friends that you think that would be relevant for, share it with them, let them have a look at it, because Daniel has other interviews done, same as Jay Kelly. They're well worth checking out. It's all about I didn't know that, so you can just educate yourself that you're not now governed by the guy in the white coat. You too have the power to sort out your own health, and that's the way I see it now. That's no disrespect to doctors are really educated, and I've got so much respect for them, but I've got so much respect for humans taking care and being participant in their own health as well. So I think it's a two-prong attack, doctor and patient working together. So that's relief that there. It kind of segues into this week's interview. I got the opportunity to interview Michael Collins, who was Pascal and Steve Collins' brother. I met him up in the boxing club, and we just had a brief chat around spirituality, awakening, and his journey through all that. And it's something that really is a passion of mine at the moment. I'm exploring meditation and mindfulness and being more present in myself. I feel that my mind has settled now, and I can focus on that, same as my meditation. So it was deadly to get him on the show, and we talk about his own life and his time around Steve being the world champion, and his journey through spirituality and awakening on. It was a brilliant interview, and if you're interested in it, have a listen. I think it might be useful. So have a listen to that. And as I say, it's kind of timely, because at the moment I'm just after finishing a course down in the Buddhist Centre, Metabafna, which is love and kindness meditation. It's something that I'm interested in at the moment. It's a brilliant course. Myself and Michael talk about meditation, and the powers of meditation. It's brilliant. People get a little bit, think it's a bit hippy dippy meditation, but all it really is, you can take away all the bells and whistles. It's basically sitting down and being with your thoughts, no distractions, with your eyes closed, and just focusing on your breath. That is the most simplistic process. It's just sitting down, close your eyes and focus on your breath. Easy peasy. And just being the observer of your thoughts. I want to give a shout out to Meditation with Louise. In the interview, I say it's called Louise's Meditation. I'm an absolute fucking numpty sometimes, but it's called Meditation with Louise. It's up in the Catherine Centre in Marble Lane, Thursday nights, 7:15. She runs an absolutely fantastic class. I have been there. I can't say enough about it. She's a fantastic facilitator. It's a fantastic class. I would go with an open mind. It's just a lovely, wonderful experience. Give it a try if you haven't already. It's in the Liberties. It's a great asset to the community. Well done, Louise. I'm really proud of you coming from the area. Absolutely love it. So that's where we are at the moment. Look, I need you to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Share with your family and friends. Also, we're on iTunes. Please give us some reviews. As I say, share with the family and friends. Because we need your feedback. I'm being really active on Facebook and Instagram at the moment. I'm putting some content out there. I just want to raise the profile of the show. I just feel like I need to sell the podcast more because of the amount of content we have on. I don't feel I'm doing the interviewees a justice. We have so much content rich with education and insights and stories and powerful inspirations. I just think there's so much there for people. It's so eclectic. There's such a wide variety of topics and shows and interests that I want to get it promoted. It's not for affirmations or for monetizing or anything like that. It really is just to share the stories of the powerful interviews that I did. So yeah, please share them with family and friends, and give us loads of feedback on iTunes. So look, as always, I'll thank Noel Riley from Rooney Graphic. Really appreciate your contribution and kindness to the show. As always, I'll always say to you, mind yourself, be kind to yourself. Self-compassion helps you then to become compassionate with the world. I know it probably sounds hippy-dippy, but I promise you, once you start to intrinsically feel compassion towards yourself, you will be sounder and nicer to other people. I am speaking from experience. I am less harsh on myself now, and I can see it in my daily life that I'm not as judgmental. I try my best not to be. I still make judgments. I still fucking give people stick. I'm not going to change overnight, but I'm trying my best, you know. And when you start practicing empathy and compassion for yourself, you do become a nicer person to the world. So look, enjoy the show. As always, mind your little self, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye bye. Okay, so we're live. Welcome back to the Magic Minds podcast. I'm Matt Burke. On the show today, I'm joined by a special guest, Michael Collins. Michael, how's it going?
I'm fine, thanks, Matt. Thanks for asking me.
I'm absolutely delighted to have Michael on the show. Michael is the brother of Pascal and Steve Collins, the legendary boxing family. I met him up in the boxing club there a couple of months ago. We had a brief chat, and I just know within seconds of meeting somebody that there's a rich and deep conversation, and we spoke for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and I absolutely loved it, and I said I'd love to have that lad on the podcast. So here we are.
Thanks again.
Right, so let's give us
the feeling is mutual, by the way, Matt, because when I did speak to you for a while, you know, the conversation we're probably going to have now is, it mightn't resonate with everyone, but some people are open to these conversations. And the reason why I'm down here is I take any opportunity to converse with someone, because we're a little bit, I find the internet's like a big savannah.
Can I just pull that mic over to you a little bit? Just
it's. I believe the
perfect.
The internet world, all the communication technology is like a huge savannah. No organisation, no order, and you know, I believe that some order is better than no order. But and I think that's what we're going through at the moment. I think with the media, the internet, the access to instant education, instant answers, whether they be fake or real, instantaneous. How are we going to digest this? Are we going to rationalise all this stuff? I mean, it's still in the making, really. Will we ever get our hands on it? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a world of everybody wants everything yesterday. You know, everyone wants the abstract. Everyone wants the click. You know, boom, boom, boom. We live in such a fast moving pace now, don't we? We do not stop and be present. And that was a kind of small caption of what we had a quick talk about in the boxing club.
The operative word that you used there was wants. Everyone wants, you know. And then what do we need as opposed to what we want, you know? I would speak from experience because I wanted a lot, and I didn't know what I needed, you know. And it took me 55 years to find out what I needed.
55.
I was only what I wanted.
I was only giving myself a hard time the other day, saying I'm 40 something, and I'm still looking for that, you know. And I feel like my life is changing. As we talked about spirituality and awakening and meditation, and we'll get into all that in a few minutes, because we're both really passionate about it.
And that's what you said there about your life is changing. It's changed since I come in here. My life has changed as well. Life is in flux.
Absolutely.
And that's a reality. It's how to connect with that movement. The Cartesians call it, it's like harmonizing with a great orchestra, you know, in the spirit of it. I've read a lot on the Cartesians. They're contemplative monks.
Wow, I've never heard of those.
They're fabulous. There's a great book I would recommend for anyone that's a seeker. It's called They Speak in Silence. It was the first time I heard the word, the expression, "Your flower of paradise," and the context of it is if you have an awakening or an experience or a sort of a view of the world in a different way instantaneously, or maybe gradually. It depends. Some people can have it through education, some can have it immediately, and you try to explain that to somebody else. It's inexplicable. So the Cartesians say it's your flower of paradise. How can you explain verbally your flower of paradise? You can't. So all the gurus, all the people that are out there trying to explain to the people that are, I don't say this condescendingly, not awake, but haven't awoken, to say to them, this is your flower of paradise, and they try to explain, this is what it is. It's futile. You just can't explain it. It's a personal, unique experience. It can't be verbalized.
I get it. I understand it. Wow, it's fantastic. Before we get into the depths of awakening and consciousness and meditation and the stuff that we both are passionate about, and we spoke just briefly earlier, give us an insight to life growing up for you.
Okay.
In Dublin.
So I come from a very, let's say, sports-driven family. My dad was a champion boxer. My uncle Jack was a heavyweight champion. Among, I think, 7 other weights, he was Irish champion. My own brother Stephen, world champion. Pascal is involved in the training end of it, the coaching end of it, successful. Roddy was, of course, involved in the football. So it was all sports. Me being the eldest, I'll just harken back to, give you a sort of an insight into my persona. So when I was 5 or 6 years of age, I was lying in bed thinking about who was there before God. And that scared the shit out of me. Like, it really scared the shit out of me. Because I didn't understand what I was thinking about. So I had no guidance. I had no one to talk to about it. So I was scared about life.
How old were you?
About 5 or 6 years of age. So I tried to block that out, that sort of thinking. But I would be drawn to that way of thinking, and I would just block it out. It was too much for me to digest, to process. This is now, I'm saying this in retrospect. At that time, it was just a scary fucking time.
Yeah, crazy.
When you're thinking about it. And everything I will speak about is in retrospect and experience. I don't know anything about theories.
Right.
Theorists, fine. Good luck to them. If I want to climb a mountain and safely, and there's 2 people at the bottom of the mountain, one's the climber that's been up and down 3 or 4 times, and a professor of mountains who was the theories, who would have let bring me up the mountain? The guy that was there before.
I've been to many people who are good in college but brutal when it came to the practical level.
Yeah, well, I'm not knocking the theorists. I'm not knocking education or
experiences,
academics, and there are great learned men out there that will have. We all have. But on that one, I need to be brought up by the mountain climber himself. Call me a doubting Thomas, or maybe call me a pragmatist. But it has to be, tactile.
Yeah.
So that's my. We go away from that because that's the way I was born. So in the meantime, Roddy's in the bed beside me. He's going, the goal I scored today. And I had this thought when he was saying, I wish I could just fucking think like him, just about scoring goals. But I'm thinking about something that's way beyond my comprehension, which I cannot help. I'm being drawn to this,
Yeah.
So now there's a conflict at this early age. So I'm going to be mixed up. That's it,
Yeah.
So what I do is I create a persona to deal with this. Put it in the background, carry on. I was the first one in the family to box. It goes back to Rod again. Someone picked on him or someone gave him a few digs, and my dad said, right, we're down the club tonight. Those 2 youngsters are there. I want you to give them a hiding. Whatever your dad said, you did it.
Right.
Like at that time, my father was everything to me. At 5, well, this is sorry. I've come ahead about 7 years. 12.
Yeah. 12.
So we get to the boxing end of it. So I go into the boxing ring and I do these 2 fellas. There's no problem there. I've no fears in the ring. My fears are all outside the ring. I'd be happy in the ring, but boxing didn't. I wasn't motivated for it. Boxing to me and sports and all these were things you just did. but they didn't fill this void that I had.
Okay.
So I did them, and I did them half-heartedly. And I knew I had the ability to go a lot better.
Yeah.
But I knew I'm going to waste that time. No, I need to keep traveling on and maybe find out about this other stuff I'm thinking about. I was focused on it. I couldn't help it. I won't say obsessed by it, but these thoughts. Now, I didn't realize at the time that this was what they call now, is called the collective conscience. So I didn't know I was being affected by the collective conscience.
Right.
And at that young age, so I didn't know these words, I didn't know the dynamics of what was happening to me. So anyway, so I've got a troubled mind. I'm inquisitive. But I don't know the answers. I don't even know the questions to the answers. So I'm a screwed up kid. So we go forward. So anyway, as I say, I'm probably getting lost in this in detail, but that's what it was. Roddy, Stephen, Pascal, they had a focus. Sports. I didn't. I was like...
You're trying to conceptualize all these thoughts and emotions and feelings and wants and drawn.
Yeah, well, I mean, there were questions and answers in my head or in my mind or in my being that I wasn't able for, unless I had been born into the family of the Buddha or born into the family of a great enlightened people. They could have spotted it and said, "Listen, this is," but no, well, that's okay. So anyway, that was the beginning, So I kind of kicked that to the touch and I said, "Well, just get on with life," with the grit that I got from my parents and my grandparents, genetics, great grit in our family, a history of warriors, and fighters, and so that's what I did. I got stuck in. And but all the time, this draw, this mental, this you can call it spiritual now. This unspeakable sort of or non-verbal language that I'm trying to deal with. So I was on a path. I had to find out, So I that was my journey. Was I got to find out what this is all about, And that was it. Like so. So we're at the age of 12 years of age, and when I was in school, I used to look out the window. I would be drawn to something other than, and yet I could hear what was going on. I only said it to a guy there the other day. We were discussing some stuff, and I said, I actually was listening to quite a lot of the stuff in school. My dad sent me to O'Connell's. He thought, it's an academic school, this young fella. He thought I was bright, which, that's a word to say, you're bright, but I used to bring home poetry. I used to bring home classical music. Roddy be listening to, what's your man's name? Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
He'd be listening to Gilbert O'Sullivan and Slade and stuff like that, and I'd be listening to classical music and deep heavy rock stuff, it's crazy stuff, So I'm trying to fit into I'm trying to fit into a family that are sportsmen. So I'm denying myself,
yeah,
and trying to be in the sports game. So you present this performance. So I'm performing, but not being my authentic self,
Yeah.
So
and how did you deal with that? Or did
you? I tried to get distracted. I distracted myself by at that age of 12. I mean, I put everything into my childhood. I had great times. Like we used to hang out. Funny enough, now when you hear this, we used to hang around, play in Grange Garman grounds.
Wow.
Now it's a bit ironic that I'm going around with this alternative thought process, and I'm playing in the grounds where, unbeknownst to me, because I was ignorant as a 12-year-old, we used labels like they were crazy, they were mad, they were, and yet I had a certain affinity with some of them. Whether it was compassion, I used to look at some of them. One man was there, he spoke 11 languages fluently.
Jesus.
You know, and I ask myself, you see, this is my perception again. You see, perceptions are so, what do you say? That's why the world is fucked up, because human perception, you know.
People think perception is reality, but reality it's not fact.
Labels, boxes, put it, it goes into that box, or they go into that box, or put that label on them, and I can understand that too, because it's easy. You don't have to think about shit, you know.
Of course.
Put a label on it, put it in a box, it's grand, yeah. No more thinking. Or as a great psychologist I knew said, some people can't dig deep, make you dig as deep as you can. He says, because you're going to be able to.
Right.
So fine. A lot of people don't dig deep. You know, it's denial, but it's not a river in Egypt. You know what I mean? I know it's a cliche thing, but look. So that's it. So I'm an isolated, insulated character. You know, at this stage, because I haven't met my peers, I haven't met my guides, I haven't experienced.
Did you do the old Irish thing of go on the lash then, go on the drink? Did you hit?
We'll come to that. I mean, it was very handy for me to go on the drink. My dad worked in Guinness's.
Oh Jesus!
I mean, there was a part of one of the rooms where there was cases up to the ceiling for Christmas. So my dad would collect them.
Really?
He'd collect them for the Christmas party. You know, and all my uncles worked in Guinness, so there was no shortage of Guinness or Bass or Smithwick's. You know. So anyway, I liked gripe water. I found out afterwards it was full of alcohol. Drinking that at 18 months old. But anyway. So I'm 12 years of age, and you know, getting on with life, school, blah blah blah. My brother says to me when he was 8 years of age, Stephen, I'm just changing here. My brother said to me, Steve, when he was 8 years of age, I'm going to be the world champion.
Did he?
And I swear to God, I'm not messing, right? It's the way he said it to me. It's inside me. I said, I fucking think he is. It's just. Or he just so much. You could see conviction in his. I picked up on that.
Yeah.
Then I just let it go. But looking back, he knew when he was 8 what he wanted to be.
Yeah. For anyone that doesn't know, he was
I
middleweight world champion.
I still don't know what I want to be, but just to be.
That's all you can be.
I know it's going to be hard for probably some of the viewers to understand this, but the reality of what we're doing now is just our reality, the now.
Yeah, we have.
You know, now for me to make that statement, you got to experience certain things to be able to say that with, you know, no fear of contradiction. It doesn't matter if people contradict me. I have no fear of that. You know, I have that, and it's not a belief; it's an experience. You know.
Yeah.
I love when Carl Jung was being interviewed, and he was asked, do you believe in God? And he says, do I believe? There is a God. And he was one of the greatest psychoanalysts that this planet has ever known.
I like Jungian.
I believe through reading a lot of his stuff, I mean, in-depth reading into Carl Jung and Freud, they were both together for a certain period of time, and they split because Freud centered on the more spiritual side of psychoanalysis. You know? I'm not an expert. I wouldn't even pretend to be, but he went a different route. They had a falling out over. But he said it. Yeah, there is a God, and I know why he said it, because he experienced. I believe that he could speak about a mental situation. We call it mental, not illness, a mental experience, spiritually. Because I believe he could speak about that subjectively and objectively. That was the whole thing. He experienced it and then spoke about it, as well as his great mind. He was a doctor before he became a psychoanalyst. So I would aspire to their way of thinking. I would admire those men for what they did, you know, and the knowledge they've left us behind here, you know, because we need it more today than we ever did. Because I believe in the past, people were so busy just living, just trying to scrape a living, just survive. They didn't have the time we have for this, to be susceptible. Some people are unconscious that they are susceptible to the these thoughts that come in and out of their heads. You know, the collective conscience. It's there. They don't own it. It's there. It just keeps coming through. That's why if you ever try to sit quietly and meditate, now you have a busy life and you're getting on there, and you know you're on par with the chaos, you know, because you're busy. Like
you're unconscious.
Everything's like that, yeah. So sit quietly and take that deep breath in, and then the deep breath out. Try and do that, and you're going, oh, "Fuck, did I leave the immersion on? Is that young? You know, did the kids?" That's just your person, but then there's the collective conscious. There's thoughts coming and saying, "Fucking, where did that come from?"
Yeah.
What's that? You know,
yeah.
That's the collective. That's this stuff that's going around.
I've started a meditation course down in the Dublin Buddhist Centre, you know,
right.
And I'm really getting to the crux of meditation and the hindrance that come in, and I would be a big fan of the collective unconscious and knowing all about that, and I've never been so aware of my unconsciousness. I'm now beginning to be the watcher of my thoughts, and I've been reading and studying this the last maybe 5-6 years. And now that I've only really got into the meditation, I see how unconscious I can be in my daily practice. Just walking around, I realise I'm not actually present here. I'm thinking of tomorrow, yesterday, whatever.
Yeah, that's all ego driven. To be conscious of your unconsciousness is a great thing. You're tuning in. It's there. You see, there's a power greater than ourselves. It's there. How do you tune into it? So you say a big river flowing, yeah, you're going to get to a great place. So you just step into that river, you know, make that decision to step into the river and be taken to that great place. But it's to get to that, to make that decision. It's a big river, you know. There's a lot of shit out there, you know. There's a lot of fear and unknowingness. And I remember one time my father said to me, you know, this thing when you were young, you go on, fall back. And I loved my father and I trusted him, but I didn't trust him that much that I could fall back. Now, the rest of my brothers, they do it. But there was something, because what I was doing was I was equating certain things in life. This, the Christian attitude with the Christian brothers. I went to a Christian brother school. I'm not going to be one of these, oh, they did this, they didn't. But what I'm saying is, it just didn't gel with me what they were preaching and what was actually happening. I was only very young, and I was going, I can't make sense of this. They call, you know, the church always saying about love and compassion and love thy neighbour and do this, do that. And I'm going, you see, the naivety of being young is you're going, you know, you just automatically believe that the older people are the good people and the you know, respect your elders and all that, you know. Fuck, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't tell my kids to do that anymore.
No way. Titles don't give you respect, you know. Absolutely not.
I mean, even I'm not a Jesus freak, but Jesus even said it. He said, "Don't call anyone by sir or father or anything." You know.
Wow.
He was totally against hypocrisy. Jesus spoke in what they call a non-dualistic language. And that's in the word of all-encompassing inclusiveness, you know. This is another language. So I was always a wordsmith. You know, I love words. I write. People say it's poetry. I don't know what it is. I just write it.
I read some of the stuff you put on Facebook.
I write it. Cool. I let it out. You know, I was asked in Cork one time. I had quite a bit of my stuff looked at by professor of English in Cork University. I was just suggested I do it, and a friend of mine did it. And he came back to me with it. He handed me his stuff back, and he says, "Never go," he says, "to a creative writing class." He says, "Just do what you're doing."
Deadly.
So I said, "Okay." So I never went to a creative writing class, and I can understand that today. I can understand it. I have friends who are writers. Glenn Mead is a great friend of mine. He's a successful writer. And you know, I've had great discussions with him. He's asked me, would you like to? I could help you. He would help me to write a book.
Have you ever thought of writing a book?
I've probably got half it done already.
Deadly.
But you know, this thing, you know, I'm going to write a book, and there's a book in you, and I don't know. I like writing. You know?
Yeah, whatever will be,
vote,
will
I'm
be.
not going to say, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to, just if it comes out, it comes out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. For some reason or other, I'm not ambitious. I never was. I was never ambitious. It didn't appeal to me. I don't know why. Just I've had lots of opportunities to get on that trail, and I just, I examined it. I said, was it no confidence? No, I don't lack confidence. What was it? And I only realised afterwards, on my journey of discovery, that it was the finite, and there was nothing in the finite. I was drawn to the infinite. There's much more in the infinite. It never lets you down. It's there. My experience, there is a God. I don't need any more evidence. To believe. A believer needs evidence. I don't need any. So I'm not a believer. I just know from my experiences. There are dramatic expressions like the dark night of the soul. Experiencing that. Look, it's like everything else. My brother Stephen, I watched him train, when he was a kid. I watched the dedication, complete, utter dedication. That'd be missing out on like social life and so committed to that.
It's one of the most difficult sports in the world. It's such a lonely sport.
It's not a sport. I'm sorry, it's not a sport.
What would you call it?
It's more than a sport.
It's more than a sport. Okay.
It's more than a sport. To the observer that's never been in the ring, they can call it a sport. But I believe if you asked a boxer, was it a sport? Truly.
Would you say it's a life? It's
a way of life. It's the essence
that's
of
a
the man,
valid
the
point,
warrior,
yeah.
the fighter, the pugilist, this raw, unadulterated humanist in the boxer.
What was it like in the 90s then, around when he bet Eubank, when he was giving him a few slaps and he was hypnotised at the time?
What a trip.
What a trip. I remember that. It's one of my greatest memories. He fought Eubank. We fought him twice.
I'll tell you
the
what,
90s was lovely.
Stephen, he gave us some fun and some trips.
What was that like,
and
that
I'm
whole
raging
experience?
he couldn't have enjoyed them with us.
Yeah.
I mean that. I'm raging that he couldn't be there to enjoy the crap, but he was on a different trip, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you were in it. You were embedded in the...
Yeah. We had some absolutely... And you know what it did too? Stephen was busy going to be the world champion. And that was it. That was his one thing. And I've known Stephen all his life. As a little kid. He's a funny guy. He's a tough guy. I mean, tough. Yeah.
I remember when
he answered my father back. That's how tough he was.
Yeah. I remember when he was in America and he was slugging away and he was winning fights, and then like he went over there and he was fighting the hardest of bastards over there and training like fuck.
No one will ever know what he went
I used to follow his career when he was in America, And then he came over here and he bet Eubank. Fucking amazing.
He went over to America and he lived in a kip when he went over in his own first, and went to work and fought and trained. I mean, we're talking old school here. We're talking no mamby-pamby stuff, sponsorship and this, and that's fine. I'm glad the boxers have that now.
Yeah, I think they deserve it because the risk versus reward, the injuries, the dedication, the loss of earning.
Absolutely.
Fucking
now,
right.
Yeah, but authentically, Stephen was the old school.
100%.
You never got any help from RTE.
I don't do fuck all for Irish boxing.
I even remember saying it to one. I think it was Fred Cockley or whatever his name was. Personally, I don't think I ever said it before, but I called him on the side. Said, "You're only a bollocks, a rugby bollocks. Fuck you." I was angry for my brother. I wanted to see him getting all that.
Boxing's a working class sport, Rugby's not seen as and look, it's a class thing, It just is.
I'm not surprised the boxer came out of our family,
Yeah.
I'm amazed, by the way. I'm in awe of genetics, how much of genetics are an influence on even our physical looks,
of course,
our demeanour, our mannerisms.
If you want to be an Olympic athlete, choose your parents wisely, is what they say.
Yeah, I suppose there's other influences, but genetics to me are just amazing. I'm amazed by life. I'm still like a kid.
Me
You know,
too.
the first 60 years of childhood is the hardest. I don't know. I think I get on with everyone, and it doesn't bother me, you know, because the one thing that one of my mantras is, it's none of my business what people think of me. That's a great relief.
Oh, absolutely.
None of my business.
I'm good sometimes, other times I'm not. Again, as we talked about earlier about the ego, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes my ego gets dented, and that's where I feel it. But again, I'm developing an awareness around that, and I'm watching that. Where would you say your journey of let's say self-discovery, your
Ended.
spiritual journey, where did that start?
Well, okay, so as I said in the beginning, I have this penchant to be up with the fucking fairies, whatever you want to call it, the birds, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to rein myself in. I need to get some sort of semblance, because it's a distraction all the time. You know, the focus to do something aesthetic is not there. You know, I'm distracted. I'm distracted by music. I'm distracted by words. I'm distracted by questions, and I need to be doing things. You know. So I try a drink. Dabbled with the weed, psilocybin, tried all that. You know, there's the poem in Xanadu of Kubla Khan, a stately pleasure down the Cree, where off the sacred river ran down to a sunless sea. Now, when I heard that when I was only in secondary school in second year, I tuned into that. Well, I found out years later that he was on gear writing the poem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I tuned in. I went, that I loved. Everyone's going, what's he talking about?
He's a
I
nutcase.
was like, without taking that, and I was tripping on the poem. You know, on the words. So that's the way I was, you know, and so none of that. Carl Jung says. You know, you can get in touch with the God or the higher power legitimately or illegitimately. So I went the illegitimate course first, and that was painful, you know. But that was the journey. It started with you know, to sort of you're appeased. There's no worry about. There's no thinking about these constant thoughts about, you know, and then of course, like everything else, finite. I mean, you know, drink, drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling. All these things are finite. They just end somewhere. You know what I mean? And they're going to. So I needed something to hang on to that was better than something finite. I needed the infinite, the principle, the truth. God, call it what you like, good. God, you know, the Buddhists call it good. You know, call it God, they call it good. They talk about you keep going around until you get to a state of nirvana. You know, you could have been something and then something else and better, and you keep improving your spiritual existence every time coming around. Reincarnation, I don't know. There's lots of words, you know, words and words and words.
Yeah.
But the essence of everything is, I'm sitting here, and truly I'm at peace. Because of what I did this morning, I go through a process in the morning of meditation, and I'm consciously in contact with. I have a bracelet here, and on it is a skull. And that reminds me on a regular basis of my immortality. Not in a morbid way. I don't go around saying, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking die now," you know.
But they say that is the key to enlightenment or awakening, is to not fear the death or immortality. You know, whether we're hurt in a relationship or whether we lose a partner or whatever, it's that innate fear of our immortality. That's what they say there's the core essence of our fear is the immortality. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely agree with it. You have to die to yourself. That sounds like a big statement, you know. You die to yourself. it's like coming back to your flower of paradise. I can't verbalise about that dying to yourself, but I've experienced it.
In what sense?
As some of the great philosophers, and they're back again to Carl Jung, but he says pain is a given in life. That's it.
We try so hard to get away from pain. Pain is like happiness, it's like sadness, like excitement. It just is.
Pain is infinite as well as it is as pain is infinite. So you're never going to get away from it. You're going to have to face the pain. Or I remember my younger brother Pascal saying to me one time, and he was true because he's a gutsy uncle. He faced his fear. He said it only takes about 20 seconds of intense fear to push on through it. I understand that. You push on through it. What you do is you transcend, you surmount it. You transcend that pain, that fear, that you become fearless. Now, and I mean fearless, not in the sense that, you have a certain amount of fear to cross a road or care, but the overwhelming fear, there's a lot of it in the world. I can see there's a lot of rage in the world at the moment. If you look at the internet, it's all rage. It's rage, it's anger, it's criticism, there's no solutions. And there's a void, I believe, at the moment, because the church as we knew it, the structure of the church as we knew it, there's a vacuum. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of resentment, there's a lot of people feel let down, say people in their 70s, and that, they were totally dependent, blind faith, which is not good either.
Absolutely.
So there's a void, and there is a void. There's a vacuum there. It's interesting times we're living in. I believe. I think anything's possible. I have a human fear, not fear. I have a human concern and compassion and a sadness from my children. I'm 60 now, so I have a fear that the world that will be left for them will be fucking futile. Now, I hope not. Anything's possible, When we were kids, I remember when we were kids, there was the Bay of Pigs. That was like touch and go. Now, I don't, as a kid, you weren't afraid, but I remember you could sense it from the parents were concerned, probably for us, So I think that's what it is. And then another thing that doesn't help the world is that the nuclear family, which developed over since the 80s. It began the nuclear family where the mother went out to work and the father, and the good grandparents that the Irish are wouldn't mind the children. Some maybe not. There was a handing over of responsibility. And then there's sort of the kids would be farmed out to some creches. And, I'm a blessed man. My mother was there, and my grandmother, and but my mother was always there for us, I say for the past 17 years I've given myself time to be there. When my partner Neve of 27 years, she would be pursuing a career, but there was always someone in the house. And I was only talking to one of my second youngest son. I said to him the other day, "You're a very competent young fella." He says, "Dad, because you were always there, or Mum was always, you're always there, That wasn't always the way with me. I wasn't present with all my kids."
We talked about that as well. Yeah, I feel I wasn't present. I'm better now.
I've worked through that. We've worked through that. There's no shame or guilt or anything about that.
No, definitely not.
But it must be worked. It must be addressed, and the healing must be allowed. People must be allowed to heal as well.
100%. I've forgiven myself. I'm not very compassionate, but I'm a bit more compassionate than I ever was.
Well, the first thing you have to do is forgive yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you can't forgive yourself, then you can't forgive anyone else.
Absolutely.
And then there are certain things. I had to work on forgiveness. If I had resentments against people in the world or the world, I would have to do something. And there's a certain thing that I was asked to do, by my peers, my guides, they would ask you to do certain things, to let go of that anger, to let go of that resentment, and to pray. And I don't mean in a religiosity way, Father, or blah, blah, blah. Although, yeah, I love the Our Father. It's a beautiful, beautiful prayer. It's a very universal prayer. The matter of fact of the hour, I love that hour.
The collectiveness.
That's the new non-dualism.
The non-dualism.
The we is the most powerful word in the world.
Yeah.
I stand by that. We.
Oh, 100%. As a leader in my job and as a leader as a father, I always use, even when I talk about the lads in the podcast, it's a we. And I truly believe it. You know, we're better in a group than we are alone. And when I done studying in college, I went back, everything was me, I. You know, I've lost that identity. I've given up. I don't believe I'm a sports scientist or I'm a personal trainer. I'm cognitive able. They're not my titles anymore. I'm just me that does certain things. It's we do them now. We as a family. We as a job.
Now that takes discipline. To get from I to we, it takes discipline.
Sorry, go ahead.
To get from I to we takes discipline.
I'll check it. Let me just hold that for a second. It's full.
Oh, that's it. Pity.
We can just keep recording on this, the audio.
Yeah, okay.
Go on, go ahead.
So, yeah, so there again, we, to me, we is to me, contradiction. So we is the most powerful word in the world. It's a nirvanic word, you know what I mean? It's utopia, because for looking at the way the world is today, I don't know whether you'd agree with me or not, but looking at the way the world is today, for us to evolve into any sort of a peaceful, half civilized planet, there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of awakening, you know. Greed has taken over, evidently so. It's actually in your face now, and it's actually there's no shame about it, which is, you know, that's unbelievable, you know.
Unreal. Let's talk about awakening. What's your thoughts on it?
Okay, so when I heard about the word awakening first, was true. A friend of mine who lives in Wexford, who was a very enlightened, awakened man, he spoke about it, and the word was foreign to me. When I say foreign, it didn't have the essence of it. I hadn't awakened. Obviously, I was only getting there. There wasn't enough pain there. You know, no pain, no gain. And in my experience, is to be awakened, there is pain, and you have to go through that pain barrier and the threshold to get to the other side. You know, as I said, you can use words like the dark night of the soul. You know, the slaying of the dragon, the facing the shadow. You know, Carl Jung talks about shadow work, which is, you know, you'd have to be well up in that. You'd have to be guided through shadow work. It can screw your head up. You know? So an awakening, for me, the awakening was pretty sudden in the end. It happened to me in Glendalough. I had an awakening of sorts, and the world after that looked differently, felt differently, seemed differently. My attitude completely changed. I literally had a psychic change. Now, for that to happen is daunting. So, lucky enough, I had people around me who understood the dynamics of awakening and what would happen from it. So, there was a certain amount of a learning process of grounding yourself, to ground yourself. You know, the awakening comes, but people around you are not awake. So, if you were to let loose the awakening experience, well, then it would look arrogant. It would be probably scary a bit for other people, or funny. So there's a grounding and a responsibility to ground yourself and to be able to wear that awakening gracefully. But you're working on it every day, because you're in constant, I won't say you're in constant battle, but you're in constant awareness of your ego and your super ego, which controls
the id, the ego, and the super ego.
Yeah. The id is like the baby wants feeding, like that, you know. and that's all to do with the triune brain and the lizard brain, and it's the evolution of man and the mind. I mean, there's an interesting thing. The handprints that were created in the caves 40,000 years ago, the same handprints were created at the same time in a different part of the world. It's just been discovered. So awareness, self-awareness had come into the world 40,000 years ago.
Wow.
At the same time, it was happening in another part of the world. They only thought it was the caves in France, I think. Not sure, but I was looking at a program last week, and it actually happened at the same time in another part of the world, and they're still discovering it. I think down in Borneo or somewhere like that, some part of the Eastern world. But yeah, so the awakening of sorts came, and then to my knowledge and my learning and my studying, there has come a second awakening, or a kick forward to the awakening. It seems to me that this universal awakening kicked off around 1933, 35, with certain things happening in the world, you know.
Right.
Of course, Eckhart Tolle talks about it, and many others. Ram Dass, Muji, Thomas Merton. What an interesting guy. No, that's putting it mildly. Thomas Merton had a great influence on me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I do. I read a lot of work from Ram Dass, Edgar Tolle,
Yeah.
Jack Cornfield,
yeah.
Deepak Chopra.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love all those kind of spiritual.
And of course, you've got Richard Rohr, who's modern. Thomas Merton's more modern, you know, in theology and philosophy. He wrote a fantastic book. I would recommend it to anybody that's interested in trying to get a connection back with it. Not the churches. The church is the church, but this thing we have against priests and the whole lot. It's just to get back to, you know, man needs that spiritual richness. He does. I speak on a personal level, and I'm no different than any other man. We need that. We need that confidence, that something to hold on to when the shit hits the fan, other than another person, because there's no human powers that can appease certain crisis that you have in your life.
It's a collective. I think spirituality brings a collective connectedness.
Yeah, in words, yeah.
You know, it brings us together, and with that then brings us as power, you know, and we're not on our own. It gets rid of the I, and I think when we use we buy into the whole collective connectedness.
Even words I don't express. I love, is it Richard Rohr or is it Eckhart Tolle talks about, it's not the words, but it's the space between the words.
It's like when he talks about what is presence. You can't explain, you can't contextualize it. It just is. It's the experience. It's just the gap between breath. It's that now, that feeling of rather than it's intellectualizing it.
It is all a mystery, you know. But isn't it nice to have a mystery? It's a bit like believing in Santa again forever. And let's face it, we all loved believing in Santa.
And the Tooth Fairy.
Who fucking wanted to be told there was no Santa? And who wanted to tell the kids, by the way, there is no fucking Santa?
No,
it's spoon to it, brother. Yeah. But I believe the Santa is the emblem or the signature for the greater Santa. You know, the thing that we don't see, but it appears, like the toys used to appear. That Christmas, I mean, it even affected. Take for instance Charles Dickens. You know, I mean, he was the one that gave Christmas celebrations in the commercial sense and the familial sense with his book Christmas Carol. It kicked that into a perspective, didn't he? Before it wasn't like that. You know.
Do you meditate?
Constantly.
Do you?
Or it's like meditation to me is like breathing in air or eating.
Wow, I'm only have to I've been dipping in and out the last number of years, but as I say, recently I've just started going to the Buddhist centre. There's a girl in the local area, Louise Meditation. I said I'd give her a shout out on the podcast. She's down to the Little Flower. I think she does it, and I've been following her on Instagram. She's a lovely girl. I just hope I hope more lads will pick it up. I'm not being sexist. I think everyone should do it, but I think really, for me as a man, I think it's been vitally important to me.
I'm glad you brought that up about because I have a little clinic. The men come to me with problems, with spiritual problems, with just communication problems, you know, and it's just word of mouth, and they come to me, and they've been coming to me for the past few years, and you know, because I work with those men, I have my backup too, because I have my people I can, and the one thing about men is, men die with heart attacks young and cancer and stuff like that, and they don't need to. And I know that sounds a very dramatic statement.
It's fact.
And you know where the miracle is? And there's a little book written about it. The miracle is in a tear. Because scientifically, when a tear comes from, when a man cries, or you know, especially I'm talking about men, because you know I was brought up in an area big boys don't cry, and the other horrible statement was children should be saying in our head. I mean, we lived in the fucking caves then, you know.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Okay, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not condemning.
Just is what it is.
Lived in fucking ignorance, you know.
Yeah.
Now the kids have turned it round. It's fucking parents should be saying in their head.
Yeah, true story.
Fuck off, you know. And watching me, you know. But that's the way. So it's in flux, you know.
Yeah.
So is there a balance? There's certain times in history there is a balance. There was certain times in history there was a sort of a modicum of peace and stability, you know. Today it's all over the fucking camp, you know. And all we've got is people screaming on the fucking thing. Yeah, these are bastards, and there. Where's the solutions? We won't get anywhere in rage. Rage won't get us anywhere.
War and anger has fucking cured nothing.
No, and ideologies, fuck them, crush them, fuck them in the fire. Because like one of the only, I mean, I've just finished reading. Alexander Solzhenitsyn's the Gulag Archipelago. Fucking heavy book to read.
Yeah.
Man's Inhumanity. Unbelievable. 100 million Russians were fucking slaughtered by their own ideology. I mean, it's horrible. But I mean, the ideologies, you know, who was right, who was wrong. That's the same thing. Non-dualism, fucking because of he is there, blah blah. So, look, we live in this world, and that's what we've got to live with this. But isn't it nice through the meditation, and you can retreat without going anywhere, but retreat.
Oh yeah.
To, and I'm going to say this, to the kingdom of heaven, because the kingdom of heaven is within.
This is God. This is heaven. This is what we're living in. And people laugh at me when I say when I'm living the dream. If people go, "How are you today?" They go, "I'm living the dream." I just believe this is it, you know. I just believe this is the world. We just don't live here anymore, you know. And I'm trying my best to try be in the present and live here, you know.
Well, surround yourself. I believe surround yourself with people of your thinking.
I have been doing a lot of that. I'm changing my community. That's why I go to Buddhist Centre and I meditate. I'm not that great at it, but I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm learning, and I'm part of the community of meditation. I just think, and without sounding hippy dippy, and I don't care what people think of us, that there's so much benefits for it. If you're into science and you're into health, there's so much benefits in meditation, not just for your mental fortitude, but also your physical sense and your family. It has a knock-on effect, and I just think lads, they bought into it. They really enjoy it, you know. Who gives a fuck whether your mates in the pub laugh at you? Yeah. Give it a fucking go.
I love it when people laugh at me.
Who gives a bollocks?
Then it's working for me. If people are laughing, and you know the expression, they came to mock and stayed to pray. You know, I love that.
I love it.
Because I was that mocker.
Yeah.
You know, I was cynical, of course.
100%. I was as well. Yeah.
But cynicism is like a thing you wear because you're afraid to go to the. You know, it's like something about, you know, I'll be fucking cynical, or I'll be a comedian, and you know, joke your way out of it, don't want to know about this shit. That's fine too, you know. It's like everything else. You know, when you're ready, you're ready.
100%. I did that.
Up. I know somebody. I spoke with them in depth about they worked in a home, an old folks' home where people were dying. You know, and they in the awakening situation. They said to me, Mick, for an old person that hasn't awakened, and just before they pass on, it's horrendous to watch. Because they have to go through that hoop just before they die, instantaneously. Whereas I count myself lucky. Yeah, I've gone through, and there's been a lot of pain, and there's been a lot of sacrifice, and there's been a lot of, you know, upset and relationship problems and all that. But I've come through it, you know, transcended and continue to. So I don't really have to worry about that dying roaring or dying in fear and terror. I've gone through all that at this age, and it's my strength and the support and stuff like that. So there's a lot to be said for it. We could go on, Matt, you know, on this conversation. It doesn't start anywhere and it doesn't end anywhere. That's the beauty of this conversation.
What mistakes would you say you've learned the most for in life?
Thinking I don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
No.
Thinking you can never be wrong.
No. Just give me that question again.
What mistakes have you made in life that you've learned the most from? I'll give you an example.
Every fucking mistake that had to be made, I made them. That's how I
What were
learned.
the biggest ones? Like when I think back in my life, what would I learn the most from? I'd say relationships.
Biggest mistakes?
Relationships for me.
Well, you see, there again, you know what? I'm not going to blame myself for what it was. I'm not going to have any
No.
guilt or shame about it. It's not. It was a learning process. Like to look back, the 2020 vision, looking back. I think I would have loved to. I don't know. It just is what it is. Like that's what life is about. It's about coming in. You know, you don't plan to come in here. You dropped off here. Fucking see you later. You know. And then you have the waiting room. Then this is a sort of waiting room of sorts, and then you're popped out the other side and do the fight you can in between. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I was just to Brendan Bean last week. He said, "Sure, it's the only life you have. You might as well be getting on with it."
Yeah,
you know,
it's all so easy said. It's fucking hard to live it sometimes, you know.
No, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. Oh.
I swear, man, I wake up every morning, right, and I mean this. I am so happy to be alive. I mean that.
Yeah.
I love learning. You know, coming from being a know-all, you become a know. You have to become a know-all, not to fucking ask questions. You know.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter how fucking bizarre it is, but I remember the day I said, "Fuck, I'm going to be able to learn every day from now on in. I'm going to be a student."
Student of life, yeah. I'm like that now.
And years of sort of living a persona of putting up a front. You know, there's a lot of people put up fronts. You know, I put up a front. I was fucking worn out in the end. And what I had done while I put up the front is I blocked my fucking ears off. Couldn't hear. I blocked off. I didn't want to hear because it was referring back to this childhood experience. Look, you know, I thought I was going to be scared again, but worse as an adult. Afraid of the usual death, and when you're sort of influenced by your upbringing, and it's in the psyche, you know, it's in your background, you know, or you're gonna go to hell and all that shit, you know, when we're kids, frighten the fuck out of you, like, you know. I didn't want to be listening to that shit, you know. I don't believe in fucking hell anymore. It's as simple as that, you know. Maybe I'm wrong, I just don't believe in it. You know? I think hell is what you make your fucking life now.
Yeah, fucking 100%. It couldn't get any worse for some people, you know. This life.
And everyone's born into a world, and everyone's born into a form, you know, if they're born into it. I don't know about predestination. I believe in predestination. It's not, I believe in it, so I'm getting evidence, but I don't know there is predestination. I don't know, but it just seems to me that there is. There's certain things that happen, you know, with synchronicity and deja vu and all these things that happen, and you're kind of go, what the fuck was that? I I feel like that did happen because it should have happened, or it did, or I'm comfortable with what happened there. Well, you know. So I don't know. Life's a mystery, and I love that. You know, it's like life's a big fucking Santa Claus still here because I loved Santa, and I still do. And I watched the Polar Express. My brother Stephen, fair play to him, he said to me one time, he said, "Watch the Polar Express with your son, your little son." He was only 4 at the time. I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll watch it." We've watched it every Christmas 3 times. And what was that able to do for me? It was able to bring me back to live the childhood that I didn't live because of my twisted fucking mind.
Wow.
See? So I was able to redo it. So I used to watch cartoons with Josh. I used to watch all the kids' programs. This is going back like only 10 years ago. What I did was I listened to the wise people that I hung out with. I said, live the child, live that. You didn't have the chance then, live it now. So, and my older children used to break their bollocks, like laughing at me and Josh. You know, I'd be sitting there with Josh and we'd be laughing at kid stuff, and I loved it, and it helped me to develop.
And I think adults, a lot of adults these days, they've lost that playfulness, the fear of playing, and
because you see, you know, Richard Rohr talks about, you know, parents. As parents, we bring our brokenness to our children. We don't just, you know, we're going to bring it's just, everyone's fucking broken.
Yeah, we've got baggage with us.
We're all flawed human beings.
Yeah.
And the worst part of it is when you go into the night and say, no, I'm doing everything right, I have brought this, and I've done this for me, kid, and I've done. You don't fuck all. Because when you say to yourself, I'm a fucking fuck up, yeah, and I'm flawed, and I need to, you know, develop myself as a fully human being so as I can pass it on to my kids. It's about being honest with yourself. And that's okay, you know. I had to do all these things. You know, I had to do all these to get real. Now, thing says, again, I come back to him because he's quite an influence in my spirit life, is Thomas Merton says, a little bit of genuineness with God goes a long way. I love that.
Yeah, fucking, you know? Deadly.
And, you know, and I've had me fucking attitudes towards the church and towards this, and I worked through all that. Because, you know what, I get about fighting. I get about fighting everything. And condemning or judging people. I've no fucking right. Absolutely none to judge no other human being on this planet. And I would never. Because I've experienced too much in the human side of things. Through suffering, through relationship with all that sort of stuff, you know.
Yeah. What piece of advice was shared with you that had the greatest impact on your spiritual journey, would you think? Okay,
so you get to a point in your life where you're strong enough, sort of, or you're open enough to hear the truth. Yeah, this alien thing, that because it's very alien now. The truth is buried a lot on this planet, you know, at the moment. And so on your journey, which is, it's not, you see, no journey, well, as far as I can see, no journey is orchestrated. It's fucking haphazard, it goes in. But keep going the same way, you know what I mean? That's the way I say, stay the course. That's what I did. I just kept staying the course. There was times I had to ground myself in and sort of, you know, stop for a moment and think, where am I? Okay, yeah, that's great, you know. The greatest thing that was ever told to me was, not told to me, but experience was, I was at a time when I was ready to hear the truth, and someone had the courage and the love to tell me the truth, and it was devastating. But it was either fall down or keep going and embrace this truth. Embrace the truth. And that's what I did. It was painful, and I needed help with that. So I needed other people who were wise and enlightened and that would guide me through this path. You know, the narrower, the road gets narrower and narrower. And so, you know, it's not that tough, you know, but it's fucking tough enough, you know what I mean?
You really have to face yourself, don't you, in order to... I see you wrote in a post today, you know, you really have to see the dark side and the struggles.
You have to get to a place, I believe, of open-mindedness. Now, you can you can initiate the open-mindedness by being more, I want this, or I seek more, or you can have it open for you, because it will be opened. The evidence is there. As I said, I spoke to people, I've researched it, where people are, they're very near their death, they're old, and they go through this fucking traumatic, this dynamic of terror and aggro and irritation and discontent and the whole lot before they die. And you would like to see an old person dying nice and
peacefully. Yeah.
And I've seen, So it all depends on what way you've transcended or dealt with your shit, just to say. In short, the modern language, your shit.
And get your shit in order.
Yeah.
Come here, what's the one thing you would like people to take away from this interview after listening to you?
Well, there's hope in the world. There's hope in community, Like, isolation is the worst enemy of humanity. And isolation can be used by the negative in people. Isolate groups, radicalize them, isolate in relationships. Oh, it's horrible, you think about it. So isolation and that sort of thing is a lack of compassion, enlightenment, love. And love is a big word. I mean, you could speak for 3 hours about what is love, what's love all about?
What's love got to do with it?
Love's nothing got to do with anything physical. It's a lot deeper and a lot more selfless. It's the opposite of what my interpretation of love was.
Oh yeah,
reciprocal. I love you, you love me back. No, it doesn't work that way. True love is you love regardless. It's the absence. Love to me is the acceptance of loss.
Say that again. Sorry.
Love is the acceptance of loss. When you're going into this love, when you're going to love somebody, you got to expect them to lose that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to think that love was the pleasure, just like happiness was the pleasure,
or the sexual part of it.
Yeah. No, I had that so fucking mixed up all my life.
That's okay, because when you're a young buck, what I mean. But that starts to, when it starts to wane, and you go, well, what the fuck is this? What is it? What is this love? So you lose, and then maybe you start looking for the younger bird. Maybe it's a younger bird they need. It's not. People do that. Go looking for younger birds, or they go looking for a different bird, or they go, the geographicals. I go to another country, or I go. Every time you go with this person, or you go to that country, you still got your fucking self with you, but you don't know it.
Oh, that is so on the money.
Or the expression, I didn't know.
I didn't know. I love that one. I've had so many of those moments in this podcast, and that's what I love about doing this. Yeah. I fucking didn't know I didn't know that.
That's what was wrong with me till I found out. Oh, now I know I didn't know.
Yeah. I was fucking so unconscious. I spent my life unconscious, and now I'm having these moments of going, fuck, I didn't know that. And it's beautiful, like light bulb moments.
First time I heard a fella saying that, I didn't know. My fucking head was wrecked for about 3 months. I wouldn't ask anyone, what the fuck does he mean?
Yeah.
I was trying to figure it out myself. I didn't know. It was the other person. It's like Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle, remember when he had his awakening?
Yeah.
You know what he said?
Yeah.
He said, I cannot live with myself anymore.
And he was like, who's the I and who's the self?
Exactly. So he had what they call a psychic split experience.
Yeah. Fuck.
You see? Bang. Subjectively. But then with that subjectively is objectively looking at it. So he's looking at his subjectivity. He's looking at what he was.
Yeah.
Now he's different.
Nuts.
Now it's easier to, hold on a second. I'm away from self. It's a bit like being in a fucking audience looking at yourself on stage, yeah?
Yeah. I know I do that sometimes when I'm arguing with someone in work, and I can see myself getting irritated and what part of me is getting irritated by them, and I can realise it's not them.
Exactly.
And I'm going, you're getting irritated by it, and they're not even doing anything wrong.
So awakening in a simple sense is on stage in the drama. You are the drama. You're in the drama, and to get the split. So from being in the drama to split and be back in the audience, looking at yourself in the drama, objectively.
Fuck.
Like I said to Joshua today, he was talking about that objectivity, subject. What do you mean, Dad? I said, okay. you're standing on the beach and you're looking at this guy and he's surfing. He's fucking flying up and down. So so I want you to tell me what you think or feel about looking at this guy surfing. So he goes, looks hard. I'd say it's fantastic. You know, I said, would you be able to feel the exhilaration that he's having there doing that? No. Okay, so that's objective. You're looking at it objectively. So you walk out to the water, you take the board off him, and you do it. You get up on the board and you fuck around and you get splash and bomb, and you come back to the beach. Now your attitude, now your perception of that initial scene has changed. So in other words, you've been subjective by doing it, and you've also already been pre-doing it. You've been looking at it and going, what is that about? Objectively. Subjective, you get involved, you do it, you come back, and then you look at it and you go, I know what it's like to do it. So now you have the subjectivity, the objectivity, you have it all there, and now it's balanced, and you can step back within yourself and step back and copy yourself on, and know when things are wrong and know when things are right. And that is encouraged, and that's nurtured by meditation and deep awareness. Now, I'm not into mindfulness, I'll tell you why, because your fucking mind is too full anyway. You need mindlessness. You need fucking thoughtlessness.
Yeah.
Mindfulness. You need mindless.
I just think
when you're meditation, and then objectively you can watch those. Collective conscience, you can watch those thoughts.
I love it.
Look them dancing.
I love it.
Instead of embracing them, instead of fucking connecting them, getting caught up in them contagiously, latched on and you can't. It's all out. Your fucking head is wrecked.
Yeah.
You just.
I had a lovely moment last night in the Buddha Centre just about the hindrance to meditation. You know what? There's only about 5 of them, and your mind is like it's like a circle. It goes through the same kind of pattern. You know, mine is kind of sense and desire. I go off and I'm dreaming about whether I do something at work tomorrow or something, or else it'll be ill regard, whether it be I'm crap at this or I'm not, and I keep fluctuating between the two of those. There's about 5 different hindrances. Because I was always wondering, why can I not do this, and why am I giving myself a hard time? And my brain is in this pattern. But although I realised what they were, I could now give myself compassion and go, that's why that is. Just let's come back to the breath. Let's just come back to the breath. And I just found easier to come back into presence.
Yes. Presence is so powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like Popeye fucking eating the spinach. Spiritually. Whack it down.
Whack it down.
Muscles in the spiritual world, muscles in the nowness, just for
the conscious muscle.
You face anything, you just let it,
Yeah.
But there was 2 things came up to me there when you're talking there about the awareness. What was it? Anyway, it's gone. Must have been a lie.
I doubt it. So look, we're nearly an hour and 20 minutes into this.
See, I told you we fucking love talking in the Collins family. Can you imagine what it's like trying to get a word in my mother's kitchen?
Jeez, you can only imagine.
And she likes to talk too.
Yeah.
Oh, what? She still wags the finger. Like, you know what I mean? She's still a very vibrant mother.
Still the gaffer.
And when you do transcend, you obviously know that the separation comes from the mother, the umbilical cord's gone, and then it's the woman, it's the and then you experience her life. You see how she was, not just your mammy.
One of the greatest books I read was called Perfect Love, Imperfect Relationships by John Mellows. It's up there somewhere.
Yeah,
it's up there somewhere. It gave me the power, because I used to dehumanize my parents. They're my parents. They should have done this. They do this. This gave me the power to realise that they're just humans.
Absolutely.
And I was able to look at them as Anne and Matt Burke. And not saying I blame my parents for that. Just, we do that. You should have done this.
Yeah.
They should have done that. And that's bullshit.
It's maturity.
Because they had troubles, and they fucking, whatever, young, have a lot of kids.
Yeah.
They're great parents. When I look back at fucking amazing childhood, they were brilliant. But still, we have gripes and they should have done this. But that book taught me that they were humans. They had their struggles.
Yeah.
They were just Anne and Matt.
No map.
Just had a go, done their best, just like I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
And if we can all realise that the human beside us, even the person, the enemy, or whoever we think is against us, they're just fucking struggling like the rest of us.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Absolutely. It's endless. It's as I say, we spoke for an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know what we said. I mean that. I don't know what we said. I like it because it just flows. The art of conversation is waning. For two men or people to discuss things, it's been lost in Facebook. It's been lost on Instagram, Twitter. You know, there's no, you know, mano a mano. You know, or you know, you need to talk straight to looking at a person. You know,
Yeah.
they had the essence of them have to be in the room. Yeah, okay, we need to. You know, it's fantastic to be able to contact someone on the other side of the world, but let's not freaking let the personal touch go.
I struggle with interviews over Skype or phone. I try to not do them. I'm better with that human contact, the art of conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
As the art of meaningful conversation as well, you know, because
Irish people are fucking, and we were brought up in it. The Shanachie, you know, fucking sitting by the fire. I mean, even as I was a kid, I mean, we'd a coal fire in the house, and we sitting there, we sat ready to be toasting fucking bread on the fire in the corporation house. You know, and there's something spiritual about that. Toasting a bit of bread on a knitting needle. My mother's knitting needle.
For fuck's sake.
Just, you know, we didn't even realise we were being brought back to the fucking cave. You know, that base, man, the cave, the fire, the fucking whole lot. You know, there's a certain comfort in that. It's a certain comfort in camping. There's a certain comfort out in the wilds.
It's pure as fuck, isn't it?
But that's where you can become fully human.
Yeah. Yeah.
To become fully human, you know, not just a fully spirit, we'll never be fully spirit, fully human with a spiritual guide and a spiritual reverence. Well, what more would a man want, for fuck's sake? You don't need anything after that.
I hope people take away from it that it was two genuine lads sitting and have a conversation about, you know, mind, body and spirit and meditation. I hope people get from this that, you know, it's not all hippy dippy, it's fucking, it's rich and it's beautiful and it's fucking...
I guarantee you, I'm telling you, my heart goes out to young men that have to take their own lives.
Oh, stop me, heart
not
breaks.
I lump me throat here even saying it. It still gets to me, you know, and I've worked with people that try to do it, but, and you know, look, it's just the way the world is. It's going to take many generations or something radical to change it. We've lost that sense of community, that sense of the village. It takes more than it takes a village to rear the child. We're spread out all over the place in every sense, not just in our houses, but in our way of life. We've been dispersed. We need to get back to basics, you know. And you know what? Even our own little way at home, you teach our children, keep that brother and sister, stay tight, look after each other. You know, all that stuff. It's
human connection. When I studied,
it's vital for the survival of our race.
When I studied for you, like when I went back as an adult and I was trying to fix my fear of failure as a kid, I disconnected from my community, disconnected from my mates. I stayed in here and I studied and I was trying to make up for I failed in life. Now I'm going the opposite. I'll go out any chance I can to make that connection, even through sitting here with you for this podcast. I'm like a thirsty dog. I just want human connection. I just think we need it. I love Facebook and all them things for the podcast, and I get education from it. But I try for that human connection to be connected with people.
Absolutely, and you know another thing I'll reiterate that loneliness is the most terrible illness on this planet. There's loneliness.
It's a huge indicator for early death.
You think of people out there and they're fucking lonely.
Lonely in a crowd.
Lonely. Well, that's even worse again. But then, you know, that's what it's all about, you know. I don't know.
Right.
The mind boggles, you know. We just keep going and you just keep plugging away.
Yeah.
You know, keep plugging away. And I'm a firm believer in prayer.
Yeah. There's huge...
not the Holy Joe sense. I'm not talking about that yakety yak.
No, there's huge research in that. There's huge research. And I was listening to a podcast and this research was saying, you know, we got these people to pray for people they didn't know about, and we got these other people, you know, there was 10 in the group, and we got pray for these. They were going through IV, and it was 1,001 chance for them to be successful. Yeah. The people that were prayed for, and they didn't even know them, they became pregnant.
Well, you know what they say, there's more to life than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Well, we've just spoken about the stuff that doesn't meet the eye.
Yeah. You can't. I just love it. I'd love anything. I used to be black and white. I wouldn't believe any of this fucking stuff.
Yeah, well, come here. You have to fucking taste vinegar to appreciate honey.
Have to break a few eggs to make an omelette.
Exactly. So how do you know what's sweet if you haven't tasted bitter? You know.
Yeah, true.
So even as Pascal says, even the black bits are white.
The what?
Pascal says even the black bits were white. Everything's good. You know, it's all good.
Yeah.
And Ian Thames, he sings the song. It's all good. It's all, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It is all good.
Absolutely. This is the best period in my life, you know, so I'm going to keep continuing on this path, you know.
And and you know, some of the great spiritual healers always say, smile, feel the best you can be, and that will transmit to the world.
There's a brilliant podcast on Oprah. There's a guy called Sean Anker.
Yeah.
And he talks about that, the power of positivity and the impact of smile and the motor neurons, the mirror neurons, sorry. Mm-hmm. When you smile, you it's contagious. And
yeah. Well, it is. I mean, I was up in the garage just before I came in here, and there's a Muslim guy behind the counter. And I just walked in, and you know, the negativity about racism and all that's going around, yeah?
Yeah.
And PC and all that. I take every man for what he is himself.
Yeah.
Fuck these labels about religion, whatever you are, it's your own business. Mm-hmm. Just don't fucking try and convert me, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But there he was standing behind the counter and a dirty big smile on him. And Chasey, I was smiling too.
Yeah. Fucking brilliant.
Happy as Larry looking behind the counter.
That makes a day for people. Makes a day for me.
I believe it. Well, listen, we've got a smile.
We'll wrap it up there. Michael Collins.
We'll call it a wrap.
Thanks very much for coming on the podcast. You're an absolute legend. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, fucking legends are usually dead, you know what I mean? Fucking not dead yet, you know what I mean? I hope to live as long as possible to annoy as many people as I can.
Look.
And I just give a mention to 6 of my friends who are dead.
Yes.
And they were all my best friends in school, and we hung out together, and they all died because they never reached that point I was lucky enough to reach of awakening. And they're always in my thoughts, you know what I mean? So them, and a shout out for a good mate of mine that used to work with us in Conal's Tree Services, you know. You've heard of Conal, have you? Conal Thomas, and the woman of my, the love of my life, Niamh, and all my children, who I love and adore, and they're my children are my salvation, and they're my redemption, and they're my teachers. And I'm a blessed man, and my grandchildren, and my great mother, and my brothers and sisters. And that's been all part of the journey.
Deadly.
All part of the journey.
Michael Collins, thanks very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, man.
You feckin' legend.